time is 7:40, and this follows on Ricky's talking about being a dad. This is a story that any parent will appreciate, because as a parent, wanting to protect your child is, of course, a natural instinct. So it can be difficult to know what to do and what to say if you know that your youngster is overweight.
Now, a leading obesity expert has said that mums and dads have a duty to use tough love and tell them that their children are fat if they think they are, but not everyone agrees. Well, we'll talk about it in a moment. First, we've been asking you what you think.
You've got to tell them I'm an adult, I'm a mother, you've got to educate your kid no matter what.
You've got to try and perhaps eat as a family, that's one thing we've always done. And then you can try and eat healthily. My daughter, she's a little bit overweight. I'm encouraging her to do more exercises. I give her motivation, like, let's say, I will give her 5 days in Disneyland if she lost 5 kilo.
You wouldn't let them get like that in the first place. That would be my answer.
Well,
if they did, yeah, then obviously I'd tell them it wasn't healthy, and I'd speak to them about it, advise them about it.
You will get children who have not got a fast metabolism, and then they'll creep and creep and creep. I would definitely sit down and speak to them, and then medical advice if not. And then if not, lock her in a cupboard.
It's kind of drastic.
Yeah, it is a bit. Let's discuss this with body image campaigner Natasha Devon and with Paul Gately, who's a Professor of Exercise and Obesity at Leeds Metropolitan University. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Natasha, let's start with you. I mean, you have an overweight child, say, should you tell them?
I don't believe you should, and the reason is that before the age of 7, we don't have what's called a critical facility. We don't have the ability to question and analyse what's being said to us. So if you tell a child that they are fat and that is bad, they take that message on at a very basic level, and that can go on to affect them in later life. I was discussing this Daily Mail article yesterday on Twitter, and I was inundated with tweets from people who said, when I was young, my parents told me I was fat, and I went on to develop an eating disorder. So it can be an incredibly harmful message.
Paul, you're wincing at that. Do you think there is a way of doing it? You can do it?
I think it's important. I've got 5 young children, and I want to make sure that they understand road safety, they understand many, many dangers that are out there. And one of the dangers that we recognise is overweight and obesity. We have 140,000 children in the UK that's so overweight that they would be eligible for surgery if they were adults. So we have a major problem, and I believe that we should talk to them. The tone and how we do it is very, very important, and often what we tend to do is we tend to blame parents, we tend to blame those kids. And I think the article somewhat promotes that as an agenda. It's this tough love approach. Actually, it's about relationships, and if we have positive relationships with our children, it's much easier to engage them in these sensitive issues, and one being weight.
Let's just pick up the point that you made, Natasha, there about you talked up till 7. Let's take that as an example. I mean, up till 7, how much are the children responsible for their weight anyway? I mean, lots of people making the point that it's parents who are feeding their children the food.
And it's society that creates an environment that parents respond to. So it's not so simple as to blame parents, and I think the blame game is the way we always take this, and that's why it's such a sensitive issue. And that is a fundamental problem.
Is educating the parents. I think a lot of the quite well-meaning but misguided work that's being done in primary schools with children and nutrition, I'm seeing young people that, 5, 6 years old going, oh, I can't eat that because I'll get fat, that's a bad food. Now, those are very, very difficult terms for a young brain to take on. If you want to make lifestyle changes as a family, that's something that adults in the family need to discuss. You don't need to put that burden onto small children.
I'd agree with that principle that you don't need to put the burden on children, but it doesn't mean to say we don't talk about it and we don't engage in it and we don't have positive relationships. I think what we've tended to do is, because obesity and weight has become such a sensitive issue, and there is so much discrimination around this, that's the factor that drives the attitude that I think you're describing, not the fact that we can have this sensible debate or sensitive discussion with our young people about their weight and their future health.
Natasha, Charlene makes the point, and you talk about people who have issues because they've been told. Charlene says, I was overweight as a kid and bullied as a result. Lots of people talking about that issue today. I used to eat for comfort. One day my mum sat me down and told me, you need to lose weight. 5 years on, I'm a happy size 14. So for some people, that kind of message can work.
Well, I'd be interested to know the way that her mum approached it. I mean, she mentions that she was comfort eating, and people overeat for a really wide variety of reasons. I mean, I work with teenagers in schools who believe to their core that they are fat. And that has a devastating effect on their life. And you talk to anyone with an insecurity about whatever, 9 times out of 10, that insecurity dates back to something that someone told them when they were little, and they just take it on as kind of brain programming. It's very, very difficult to unprogram. So, I mean, you're absolutely right when you say that this has to be done in the right way, but I would be inclined to avoid the conversation entirely because you can do more damage than good.
Paul, you're shaking your head. You adamantly believe we have to address this, however nicely.
That's like saying, you know, my 5 young kids, I shouldn't make sure that they understand about road safety. It's irresponsible to have that as an attitude. As I say, we have 4.5 million kids in the UK that are overweight or obese, and the attitude that we should not talk about or not do anything about it will mean those figures will continue to increase. That is irresponsible, I would argue. Having the right tone and the right form of communication is absolutely wholly appropriate.
Okay, both of you, thank you very much indeed. It's something we've got emails and texts and tweets pouring in on this.
Yes, I'm sure we'll get more.
We'll read some